This video is going to demonstrate the use of the PreVal sprayer. It's a temperamental unit sometimes, and it can be rather difficult to work with if you're unfamiliar with it. So we're going to show you exactly how the unit can be used in real life situations. The very first thing you want to do, there is a tube that is taped to the side of the unit when you get it. Insert the tube into the hole at the bottom of the unit. Make sure that it's in firmly and tight. Remove the cap. And before you do anything, turn the unit upside down and press the spray nozzle for about 5 to 10 seconds. That will release some of the excess gas that may be in the unit. When the units are manufactured, a lot of times they'll overfill them with propellant, and that propellant, being so close to the top, can sometimes spit through the nozzle. That will cause the unit to fail and not spray. And so what you'll end up getting is just air coming out and no colorant material. Once we've done that, we'll then want to attach it to our bottle of color coat. Make sure that the color coat is shaken well. This has already been shaken, but I'm going to shake it again just for demonstration purposes. Remove the cap, and we're going to screw the unit directly onto the bottle of color coat. Now, as the directions say in the kit that you purchased, wipe the first coat of dye onto the surface area, which is exactly what we've done here. As you can see, it's not heavy, it's very streaked. We're actually working with a white piece of vinyl and we're putting black to it, so you can see the obvious difference. We're also, at this point, going to assume that we're working on a flat cushion surface, laying down at a 90-degree angle to the floor. And this is a common situation where you'll find yourself in. Before we begin, it's a really good idea to use a piece of cardboard or paper towel or some object to begin your spray into. And what I'll do is I'll hold the cardboard up, hold the unit upright, and just begin to spray. That gets the flow working in the unit. Make sure that everything's working properly, and then we can begin. Now, when you're working on a flat surface such as this, lying parallel to the floor, the most important aspect of using these units is do not tilt them too far. If you tilt it like that, it's going to do nothing but spit, and it will stop spraying. So you want to hold it at no more than a 45-degree angle. So when you're working on an area such as this, sometimes it's a bit necessary to come back a little further from the surface so that you can maintain that 45-degree angle. Once you have that positioned, begin spraying. You're going to want to start at one end and work your way over to the other end. And we'll do this by pointing the sprayer at that corner, press the button, let the flow begin, and then an even back and forth stroke. And we want to be very careful that we don't overload the surface, just a light mist. So what you should ultimately see when you look at the surface, still see the imperfections, the stroke marks from the previous wiping coat, some of the original color showing through. That lets us know that we don't have too much material onto the surface. Once that is sprayed on evenly, we're satisfied with it, take your hair dryer and dry it. Now, you don't want to put your hair dryer close, you want to hold it back and let the air flow over the surface so that it dries that colorant material. It's a little humid today, so it will take a little longer for this material to dry. On a less humid day, it will dry very quickly. You want to make sure that the entire surface is dry before proceeding. And as you watch this video, you'll see it will actually change appearance as it dries. Now we haven't sprayed our material on too heavily because when you look across this piece of material, you can still see the grain pattern very nicely, just as the original material. And once this is dry, we're going to want to put a second coat on. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to start at this corner, work our way to this corner. Nice even strokes, no more than a 45-degree angle. We're going to hold it a little bit further from the surface, and we're going to spray. Again, keep the spray very light, just a light mist. You don't want to overload it. Very light mist. We're going to get a very nice pattern. Immediately dry this with a hairdryer once again. Two coats of spray and one coat of wiping, and we have an excellent finish. We have turned a piece of white material into a completely black material. If you have little areas that are still showing through, another coat can be applied with the spray unit in the exact same manner that we just did the last coat. So keep in mind the most important things. Turn the unit upside down to spray some of the excess gas out. Never hold it at more than a 45-degree angle. If you have to get further away from your surface to maintain that 45-degree angle, you can do so. In which case, you can mask off areas, use plastic, use tape, whatever. Use a piece of cardboard, hold it to the side so that your spray doesn't go in areas that you don't want it to go. Now, working with a vertical surface. Vertical surfaces are very easy. When a piece is straight up and down, we don't have to worry so much about the 45-degree angle because now we're going to be working straight up and down. Our unit's going to be almost straight up. But again, we want to do the same thing. We want to choose our starting point, point our nozzle directly at our starting point, hold the unit back about 10, 12, 15 inches, and begin our spray. Very light mist. Do not apply it heavily. And it's as simple as that. Take your hair dryer and dry the piece. The pattern that this PreVal sprayer puts out, it puts out what we refer to as a heavy orange peel pattern. What that will do is actually accentuate the grain pattern of the material that you're working with. Whether it be leather, vinyl, plastic, whatever the situation, that orange peel effect that the PreVal creates will accentuate the grain pattern, especially if you've made a repair and you have repair compound on that is kind of a flat surface, no grain to it. The PreVal will actually create a bit of a grain pattern. And that's our completed piece. We've taken a white piece and made it completely black. We still have very nice definition in the grain of the original fabric. It hasn't been filled in by the colorant material. It looks completely natural, completely original. That is how you will actually use the PreVal sprayer. Cleanup is very simple. remove the unit from your bottle. Now you can do this over a sink and use a sink to do the cleanup. I always like to put my finger over the nozzle hole, lift the unit out of the bottle, and press down. And what that will do is actually back blow through the unit, and it will blow any colorant material that's inside, it'll blow it out. Now if you don't have access to cleanup material readily available, you can use a cup of some sort. This just has plain water in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this unit into that water. I'm then going to get a cloth or paper towel, whichever you want to use. And I'm going to spray that clean water through the unit. And what I will do is I'll push the button down, pointed directly into the cloth, and you'll see some of the black colorant coming out from the water. I will also take my finger, put it over the outlet hole of the nozzle, back blow it, push it down, and you'll see the bubbles coming out. And then I will do it again, and I'll do this several times. The unit is now cleaned out inside, and it's ready to use again at a later date. Now, as far as the bottom is concerned, this is where a sink comes in handy. You can rinse this out in water because cleanup is done with using just plain water. Sometimes a little soap will help, and the unit is ready to be used a second time if necessary. That's how the PreVal unit is used in general application. We also have a video that will take you more in depth into the actual mechanics of the unit. How it functions, how it works, things to avoid, ways to use it so that you get the best results with the least amount of problems and issues. I encourage you to watch that video as well. And that will pretty much cover it on the PreVal spray unit. I hope this has been helpful, and I thank you for watching.